Hello Doomers, and welcome to Doom Speedrunning Record Progression, or DSRP for short. As you may expect, this series examines a world record progression of various Doom speedruns that I find interesting, inspired by the likes of Karl Jobst, Summoning Salt, and most recently Andrea Rovensky, another Doom speedrunner, who has done something sort of similar on her channel, which I'll link in the description below. If you have any feedback for how I can improve this series, or any suggestions for future videos in this series, please let me know in the comments below. This is part 1 of the series, the UV Max World Record Progression for Flotsam Map06. I hope you enjoy. Flotsam Map06, or Souls Left Behind, is a fairly notorious map. Made by a notorious author set in a notorious WOD, it stands out as being one of the most fun, explosive, and brutal maps in the set. The music track for the map, Laughing Assholes Killed Somebody's Giant Armenian Summer 7, aka Laxus Gas 7 by Wolfcraft, is fondly remembered through this map. It's actually playing in the background right now. From back to front, it's an all-out frenetic slaughterfest full of BFG spam and lots of cybers and vials, but it's also arguably lenient on health depending on who you ask. Its author, Killer5, who is also on the DSDA table for UV Max speedruns for this map, stated he wanted to create a map where he could, quote, BFG the fuck out of stuff one day, which he did a really good job of accomplishing. The map does an excellent job of making everything quick and easy to kill, including the player, so it creates really engaging gameplay, and usually there are megaspheres around that allow the player to at least tank a rocket so they can keep rolling. With such a hard and infamous but really fun map, it was only natural that Challenge Maximum speedrunners took to it. Let's look at the UV Max table for this map. Here's the max table for Flotsam Map06. As you can see, many Challenge Maxers lurk here, including myself. Since this video is focusing on the max progression on the map only, I'll be omitting coverage of runs that have not had the title of the record, including Crusader's time at the bottom of the table here, which is both a casual max and the most recent run submitted to the table, as well as the task runs. Crazy Doom Guy's task is both slower than record and not notable for its routing, while the Red Recluse task, well, it has an interesting route, but it's overwhelmingly random, and without save scumming the route myself, it's hard to say whether the route is applicable to non-task gameplay. Also, most people would likely get sick just from watching that demo, since Red Recluse just loves its 360s. Additionally, I will not be covering David's 535, as he immediately set a better record quickly after it with his 529, and I won't be covering my 514 on the board either, as it features no route differences from David's 529. Here's a graph showing the record progression for people who enjoy graphs. As you can see, over the course of about 4 years, this time was brought down from 733, set by Killer5 in April of 2019, to 455, set by mhrz in May of 2023. This is significant, as the map's max record has been refined multiple times from a lot of skilled players, with a total of 2 minutes and 38 seconds improved upon from the original run. I feel the route tweaks between each run are really interesting, so let's move on to examining the very first run by Killer5, who I'll be referring to as Zzul throughout the video. Alright, so this is Zzul 733, the first run submitted for Flotsam Map 5 on DSDA. The general route progression used through this map is what we'll see in a lot of other runs, so he sort of sets precedent for the run with this first run here. The general progression he takes throughout the map is from the blue key to the secret, to the red key, to the yellow skull key, to the exit. The first thing to note here is how he'll completely clear out this blue skull key area. It's something that will be done faster and potentially skipped, spoilers, in the future, but in this first run here, Zzul completely clears out the blue skull key. Did I say blue skull key? This is the blue skull key section. So he completely clears the section out here, even goes for the vials in the back. Before he begins to do the secret. In the secret, he kind of actually BFGs that cyber right in front of him a bit longer than I remember other players doing, but he gets past it regardless. And now he does the secret fairly conventionally compared to a lot of other runs of this map. Usually starts with clearing out these chain gunners immediately and then do a sort of vague strafe around the perimeter of this room, like so often in BFG spam maps. Once again clearing everything out in full, so there's no progression skips yet, no leaving cleanup for later, just straight up clearing everything out. Very much a systematic clearing of the map, and no skips, so it's just done in a pretty normal progression. More evidence of that is he takes a secret section by its subsections. So he did the first sort of fight at once, now he does the vials, and he'll do the next part sort of isolated, as opposed to releasing everything all at once, which we'll see in later runs. Next, Zzul employs this pretty normal technique for clearing out these vials here. So once again, he's setting precedent. This is also sort of the only viable way to take on these vials straight up. You sort of hug this corner here. Always hit that switch closest to this cave to activate the horde. Next, he goes to the central sort of tower here, clears out this cyber. Cybers early in the map were infighting with the revs at the start. He makes a nice strafe down the stairs, which could be trickier for newer players to do. Takes out these vials here, and now he begins a red skull key. Compared to later runs, you'll see that Zzul will take this part very cautiously. He dances around the outside perimeter of this fight, sort of on this outer ledge here. Because the inside is very dangerous. There's Cyber's vials on the inside. Got the Perch vials. But eventually, once he finds a good time to do so, he rushes in, takes out the vials. But there is a little bit of a dance at the beginning of this fight that he does. Once he clears out those Perch vials, which by the way are the top priority in doing the fight like this, takes on Cybers, and once again, just cleans up at a relatively slow pace. Again, it's just relative to the future runs that come. For all runs of this map, running out of ammo is a really big deal. Got tons of stacks of cells. It's a bit slow here, Zzul, refilling on cells a couple times to take out these Cybers. These Cybers are difficult to take out quickly. You could potentially run over to the blue skull key Cyber yourself and take him out there, but generally players just kind of take him out from the red skull key area, like Zzul does here. Zzul strafes back up the stairs here, does a nice strafe down the stairs to the yellow skull key area at the beginning of it. This part is pretty much done the same for every single run of this map. It's kind of hard to do this fight any other way. It's a really cool fight. Not many maps sort of put a Cyber behind you like this and force you to hold your ground on an edge with the incoming swarm of Hell Knights and then Cybers back behind them to muck things up. Potential infighting rockets causing issues. Running out of space, trying to move in ways where projectiles won't hit you. Zzul does a nice job clearing it here. Ooh, low health moment. This almost got insta-jibbed from behind and in front. This part is a bit of a pain in every single run of this map. This is just about the only way to kill the Cyber. Trying to do this map fast, you just kind of have to shoot him from that vantage point with a BFG ball. Although, I think that was a pretty fast clear. The next Zzul just continues to clear out the map pretty sequentially. Same for this part too. Again, he sets a precedent for a lot of future runs. Not that you can do much else here other than just kind of take this the way that he does here, otherwise you'll probably get nuked by the vials. Now he does an interesting here where he pre-fires this insta pop-up Cyber. He absolutely eats a face rocket because of it, but pretty good use of the technique. I'm sure Zzul intended that. I mean, he made this map. Next, Zzul kind of comes running down to this first island here. Doesn't stop at the second island on the way down. So you can already see a pretty decent sort of speedrunning route already kind of formed here in this first initial run. Next, he takes care of this exit Cyber. We're at the ending now. And now the final infamous File Horde. The only viable way to do this is pretty much come along this left side here, hide behind this corner, He had no pre-fire when this horde was revealed. He had no pre-fire on the vials, so that's a time save we'll see in future runs. Very minor one, but... Zzul gets a little bit overwhelmed by the vials here, but he does a nice job recovering. But as you can see, he's left with low health. He can't survive another zap. Unfortunately, he has to take this final sort of group of vials that are stationary a bit more cautiously. He can't rush them as quickly as if he had more health. So to sort of BFG ball, tracers, and then when there's only a couple, he finishes them off up close. And that was Zzul 733. Great transition. So Zzul's run has a lot to note for it. First and foremost, it set the general route precedent that almost all subsequent runs use. Specifically, it's a blue skull key to secret to red skull key to yellow skull key / exit progression. One thing this route does establish permanently is the ending and beginning progressions. All runs start with heading to the blue skull key area immediately, and all runs end with the yellow skull key, as the exit is embedded within the yellow skull key area. Zzul's run is pretty decent on a hard map like Flotsam Map06, but as you'll see soon, he does lose a lot of time compared to other runners due to taking almost every encounter in isolation, and taking a bit long cleanup at times. Additionally, low health at the exit does seem to scare him away from faceplanting the final vials, so some seconds are drained from that as well. Overall, a decent start to the table. I won't be showing the full runs at normal speed from now on, as much of the route will stay the same across the runs, but I will set the runs at normal speed when necessary to point out new strategies and techniques employed by runners as the runs progress. I showed the full run for Zzul here, since it's the first run and establishes what running this map and route looks like, and I will show the full run for the current world record as well when I get to it, as I believe it makes the most sense to show the first and final runs in full, normal speed. With that out of the way, let's move on to Daerik 624 from December of 2020. Alright, so here's Daerik 624, uses the same route as Zzul. First difference here, quick swap on the BFG. Very minor time save, almost inconsequential. But, regardless, it's a difference, it's an update. So as I said before, it's mostly the same. It's just one health moment here, very exciting. So he starts mostly the same as Zzul, he just clears out this blue skull key area, just like Zzul did. Now it's time for the secret. He gets right behind this back cyber, faster than Zzul does. Not that it really matters that much, but it's generally seen as the safest technique for this individual part. Moving on to the secret area, he does this fairly normally, just like Zzul, sort of cleared out this first section of the secret. Make sure to clear the cybers first before he does the vials. He does the vials here, if you caught that, but he hits the switches as he's doing it, and he hits that switch closest to the horde that he's going to release, which is interesting because I probably would not recommend that. But anyways, after he clears everything here and he refills on health, he does this interesting strategy where he pre-fires all the way from back here on the vial horde. Kind of messes up the first time. He just sends a lot of BFG balls that way, and he just completely YOLOs these guys. Just hopes the tracers delete everything. And it works out for him here. I don't know what his consistency was on that, but I don't think any other run used that strat. I certainly wouldn't. Oh, almost dies again. So the red skull key, there's a bit of an update here too. So he kills this first file on this side, and now he does this very structured. He hugs that one corner before hugging this corner. Then he circles back around, and then he gets in on these vials. I think a decent clip quicker than Zzul did. And as soon as you get those perch vials, the fight is essentially won. So Daerik does this section overall a bit faster. I think a bit more structured than Zzul. Does a very nice job at sort of having a strict means of eliminating those perch files, which are the key to the fight. So moving on here, it's more cleanup. Takes on this cyber, and for the most part, he finishes the map the same way as Zzul. Speeding through here. He also does the pre-fire on this top cyber here. Doesn't get a face rocket like Zzul had done. Then he pretty much follows Zzul by the books. Except he does this pre-fire on this ending horde here, gets some nice tracers on them before he heads to the back. And then finishes out the map. Just sort of taking out the Vile Horde here. And he has enough health. He only takes that first initial zap from the pre-fires that he did. So he handles the Horde extremely well. And he has enough health to just completely rush these exit vials here at once. So very impressive stuff from Daerik. Nice progression. Beating Zzul's time, takes over a minute off of it. Very well done run. Daerik 624 innovated in many substantial ways from Zzul's run, and this allowed him to shave over a minute off of Zzul's 733. Despite lamenting the pre-fire gaff in the secret area and a poor go at the Red Skull Key, Daerik mentioned he beat his goal time at 640 in the text file of this run, so kudos to him. In terms of what Daerik innovated on in this run, he implemented some smaller time-saving strategies and techniques, such as quick swapping on the BFG at the start, pressing the switches for the final Vile Horde in the secret area while fighting other enemies, pre-firing very effectively on the exit Vile Horde, and having good enough health to faceplant the final Vials. I think the biggest time save may have come from how Daerik executed the Red Skull Key area much quicker than Zzul did, as he implemented a well-defined left-right-left maneuver to attack the Perch Vials effectively, which then allowed him to get to cleaning up the Red Skull Key area much quicker. Overall, more aggressive play also chipped away at Zzul's time, which is common among all subsequent runs. Despite all the time saves through improvements within the route, Daerik actually sticks to Zzul's route fairly strictly, with no real notable deviations in maneuvering between areas. This was a great run from Daerik, and likely the most important demo for evolving this run, outside the first and final runs. Let's move on to the next record, which is a 536 set in September of 2022 by Kinetic, a player who is stuck talking in the third person. Alright, so my 536, right away, an AVJ at the start, saves a couple seconds, looks really cool. That'll be implemented going forward in subsequent runs. Same general route as Zzul and Daerik. Blue, secret, red skull key, yellow skull key. I clear out this sort of front section of the blue skull key. I'll come back for the K-Vials later, but I sort of clear everything else out except them. The first sort of part of the secret, I'll clear this out. But not the revs on top. Once I kill the cybers, I feel confident going for phase 2 here with the vials. Sort of leave I don't really BFG the revs since I figured I'd kill them as I kill the vials. And then I use the corner technique that Zzul introduced for these vials here. Don't use Daerik's crazy method. Tell if I get Pain Elemental and kill a random cyber there that was infighting. Now, this is when I kill the Blue Skull Key, sort of K Vials. Do that later to sort of preserve that Mega. Here's a weird thing specific to my demo. These revs just didn't infight the cybers very well, so I have to spend a bit of time cleaning them up here. Next, I don't get a quick kill on the Vial here at the beginning of the Red Skull Key, but I do immediately run to this right corner, and then run to the left to kill these Perch Vials. To solve the fight quicker than Zzul and Daerik did. I essentially just did a sped up version of what Daerik had employed. He did left, right, then left corner before killing the Perch Vials. I just did right and left. But yeah, and then a little bit faster cleanup of the Red Skull Key here. I grab full cells before taking on cleaning up these cybers. For this final cyber here, I didn't want to go back for cells, so I just kind of YOLO'd him. Time save question mark, but just a lot more aggressive play. Overall, the level of aggression is increasing in these runs. But as for the rest of the map after that, it's business as usual. You can't really do much once you get to the Yellow Skull Key. No interesting route changes really, no different ways to approach things. So as you can see here, it's mostly the same. I get a less effective pre-fire on the final exit Vile Horde here than Daerik had done. And overall, I perform worse here than Daerik. I take a couple extra zaps here, get down to 28 health, and that slows down my ability to take the final sort of exit vials out. I have to get back once, but it's still fairly aggressive to do what I do here. Still pretty fast. And there's my 536. introducing the AVJ, this more aggressive play overall, leaving some bits for cleanup later on, just maximizing how much damage I can do with the BFG, really. In my 536, the most noticeable change I make to routing is implementing the archvile jump right at the start of the map to get to the blue skull key area quicker, which saves a few seconds and adds some style points to the run. Additionally, I strategized for the red skull key area by preserving the megasphere guarded by archviles in the cave section of the blue skull key area, and thus a new progression point in the route is formed by going back to clean those guys up before heading to the red skull key area. I also saved time from Daerik's run through more aggressive play. For instance, there was a concerted effort to eliminate everything in the front court of the blue skull key area as quickly as possible, preserving the cybers until the end so they could infight revs by the secret and the red skull key area, as well as damage the blue skull key horde. The former ended up failing, and I decided to spend some time cleaning up the revs by the red skull key manually, which slowed me down a bit. I also YOLO'd the central cyber following the red skull key. Overall, a lot more aggression and speedier execution is what saved the most time from Daerik's 624. Next up is David's 529 from October of 2022. Let's see what he did. Alright, so here's David's 529, AVG at the start, like my 536. Again, normal route through the map, blue skull key to secret, to red skull key to yellow skull key. David does here, he clears out the blue skull key fully like Daerik and Zzul had done, but not like my 536. Just leaves one cyber alive. Everything else is clear for the blue skull key. First major optimization over my 536. He does phase 1 and phase 2 of the secret fight at once. Maximizes infighting between enemies, and in theory, better tracer usage since there's more stuff for your tracers to hit. Uses the corner technique for these vials. Once again, nice telefrag on the cyber. Has the same problem as my 536 here with the revs, not really infighting well, but he completely ignores them, which is another small time save. Again, getting infighting from the cybers to take care of them instead of sort of BFGing them himself. And then he takes the red skull key the same way I did, right to left, and clean up. Spams down that cyber. The cyber in the central gets kind of stuck on the right side, so he's able to sort of run up pretty freely here. He gets a nice quick kill on the cyber. Strafe down the stairs, and then it's business as usual for the yellow skull key. One really good pre-fire on those vials. Does an alright job at handling the ending here. Gets knocked down to 59 health, but he is able to do the final horde in one go like this. Bit of YOLO aggression, and overall saves 7 seconds from my 536. So yeah, so optimization is becoming more difficult now, using this sort of same progression route. But overall, pretty good demo. For the most part, David's 529 is more of the same in terms of improvement, keeping up the level of aggression from my run. As evident from the 7-second improvement in this run over my 536, grinding out more seconds using this route has proven to become more difficult, as there have been no major time-saving deviations from Zzul's route up to this point, only moderate ones, such as the beginning AVJ. However, it was still nice that David was able to take the run sub 530. He does tweak this route by releasing multiple phases in the secret fight at once, which increases infighting in that area and speeds it up a bit. David also improved in my 536 by ignoring the revenants remaining at the red skull key area, as he lets the cybers that spawn in the red skull key area and extraneous BFG tracers handle those revs while he focuses on cleaning up the red skull key area. Although it won't be covered in this video, the next record was my 514, which implemented extremely aggressive play, as well as David's secret fight strategy. With 15 more seconds to go to crack sub 5, it was looking like David's 529 would probably be the last 30-second barrier broken on the map, outside of some sort of insane grind on the existing route, whose skeleton had been in place for the last 4 years. However, this is when the community's resident XDD enjoyer and future winner of the November 2023 bingo competition stepped in the kitchen. At last, we have arrived at mhrz 455 from May of 2023. Alright, so mhrz 455 at Flotsam Map06, one of the more legendary demos I know of. So first, AVJ, we got the quick swap as well. This is just such a good demo. In terms of routing especially, he completely reinvents the route in this map. First interesting thing he does here is he just immediately dives for the secret. He immediately dives for the secret. He doesn't clear out the blue skull key whatsoever, he just immediately pushes for the secret. And then you might think that he would do the secret normally, but mhrz has other plans. He activates phase 1 and 2 immediately, but it's to release the vials for an AVJ. An AVJ back to the central tower, so you can clear out this cyber, and you can go to the red skull key. Now what this does is it just instigates infighting the blue skull key and the secret, so you got a bunch of things killing each other in those areas. Nice chain gun kill, that vial, by the way. So you got a bunch of things killing each other all over the map while he's still progressing. So he's doing the red skull key now. Everything is killing each other on the map through infighting. He just finds, with the AVJ and the secret, he just found a way to release everything in the map to maximize infighting. But yeah, he's just cleaning up red skull key here. You'll see the blue skull key cybers just completely annihilated everything in their section. mhrz has no ammo here. Just YOLOs into these cybers, almost falls into the pit from infinite height, just runs into cybers, moves around them. A pretty fortunate moment in the demo, but it's a classic for reasons like that. But anyways, he's cleaning up blue skull key here. Like I said, just cybers here, they just killed everything else. So a lot of seconds saved there by mhrz, just from such an inventive route. And then everything in the secret area that didn't die earlier groups up here. Again, it's mainly just cybers, so saves a lot of time not really BFGing the majority of everything there, just what's left over. Corner technique for the vials. And yeah, that's the bulk of the changes in the route, but it's completely different from all the previous routes. Nice rocket eaten from that central cyber there. But now he goes into sort of the familiar exit that you've been seeing from previous runs here. Just taking on the yellow skull key area. So I don't think there's any faster way to do it at this point. We've had like 5 different runners, and like 7 or 8 different runs. Look at this. This is what everybody does. But to speak on mhrz's run a bit more, it's such a good route. Everybody had been running the map the same way, and he just completely cracks it wide open with a different route. He does the AVJ and quicks up, goes blue skull key immediately into secret as fast as possible. AVJs from secret as fast as possible to the central sort of tower. Red skull key, back to blue skull key, to secret, to yellow skull key. So to fully spell it out, blue skull key, secret, red skull key, blue skull key, yellow skull key. Completely flips the progression for the map, for the run, the UV max run, from what Zzul had originally sort of sketched out. Zzul had set the precedent for the original route of blue skull key, secret, red skull key, yellow skull key, and then mhrz completely switches it up. So it's an absolutely fantastic route for mhrz to get record and get sub 5 on this map, which I wasn't sure was possible after the 514, unless you're like crazy luck or infighting. Anyways, the only sort of marks on this run is that the ending sort of yellow skull key does go a bit slow here. He had to hide from the vials. But cyber here is a bit slow. But other than that, a great demo, especially from a routing perspective. As mhrz finishes out here, sort of handling this final horde, of course, executes it well. .69 health. I mean, what do you expect from mhrz? And then good, clean cycle on the final vials there. Just a fantastic demo from mhrz. This will make him a legendary runner. An all-time classic in my book, among challenge maxing slash speedrunning challenge maps. One of my favorite maps of all time, and one of my favorite routes and runs of all time. So yeah, just an absolutely legendary run in my eyes. Alright, so that's the current UV max record on Flotsam Map06, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did because it's one of my favorite demos ever. To recap what mhrz did, he straight up cooked a new route for the speedrun, and when it's executed at a high level, you can push it a lot farther than Zzul's route. The secret, but also not very secret, but also literally a secret sauce of the route is obviously the AVJ from the secret to the central tower. It just instigates an infighting party in the secret area that saves so much time compared to BFGing everything there yourself, like how you normally do in Zzul's route. Before that, he bypassed the blue skull key area as quick as possible, so an infighting party erupts there as well, and sometimes is saved from letting the cybers do all the work on enemies there. mhrz even included the quick swap on the BFG at the start, which, while it barely matters, is very nice aesthetically, I have to say. Despite the sick route, there are some ugly weapon swaps in the demo, and the ending is a bit on the sluggish side, but it's compensated for by the few times he ran straight at cybers and either ate a rocket or miraculously avoided getting insta-jid by them. It's always great when a demo has moments like that. It makes watching them much more entertaining. Ultimately, runs like this for mhrz are why he's always been one of my favorite players. He's very good at many aspects of the game, and his ability to route was on great display in this run, and the reason why I wanted to make this specific video in the first place. It's just a great run on a great map at the top of a table full of really good players. Really appreciate this run. I'd hope you do too. Okay, so that was the Doom Speedrunning Record Progression of Flotsam Map06 UV Max. We went from Zzul's 733 in 2019, to Daerik's 624 in 2020, to my 536 in 2022, to Dave's 529 the same year, and finally, to mhrz's glorious 455 in 2023. I thought this record progression was really cool since it featured skilled players attempting to grind out better times on a really hard and fun map, and seeing minute differences in strategies, techniques, and the route over time, it was just very super cool to me. For the current world record, it's fairly beatable with mhrz's own route, and he actually says in his text file that he lost a lot of time in the ending and should have had a low 4-4x run. And some small mistakes such as the weapon swaps in his run are obvious time losses that come to mind, so maybe one day someone will come along and get that time that mhrz wanted. I'd be very happy to see that personally. Thank you for watching, and now I'd like to thank some of my generous patrons. Thank you.